Hi guys, I'm Stephanie and welcome to my channel. In our last episode, I mentioned today I'm going to share with you guys, as a native Chinese, what do I think about the movie Mulan? So, here we go. First impression, what do you think about this movie? I think it was fun to watch. It's definitely fun to watch. Some parts is a little bit unrelatable for Chinese, but overall I think it's a great movie. I still recommend it, especially I love the actress Liu Yifei. I mean, she's killing it. I think she did a great work in it. I was excited when they first announced that she's going to be playing Mulan. And now I think, yeah, she's amazing in it. So for the sake of her, I really like her, I think you should watch it. But yeah, I can totally see why some Chinese people find it a little bit unrelatable, because there are certain parts that I felt a little bit off. I actually watched that with my parents, and my parents didn't really take it very well. They were wondering why they were all speaking English. That was a side note. Anyway, so I'm thinking in this episode, I'm gonna divide it into two parts to share about my points and my views on Mulan. So I'm gonna talk about tone setting and storytelling. Let's get started. Also, spoiler alert for those who haven't watched the Mulan just yet. I would recommend you watch that first and then come back to my video if you would like. I'm going to mention certain plots in the next couple of minutes. So, tone setting. Personally, I think tone setting is very important, particularly for some videos that were featuring on other culture. So with the right tone setting, it can really bring the audience in and let them really know what is really going on. So in regards to that, I think at the very beginning of Mulan, I was a little bit confused, mainly because of the architecture happens there. That architecture is a feature architecture in Fujian province, and it's not really where Mulan supposedly to be come from. So it's a little bit odd for us to see Mulan was born and raised in such an environment, because that's just not true. However, on the other hand, I think maybe, this is a wild yet educated guess, the director might purposely made it to be happening in such a building because, oh gosh, just look at it. It provides such a natural center stage. Whenever they were announcing something, whenever they were talking something, everyone was watching. So naturally, it created this kind of like stage, and it's almost like a theater, a natural theater. So I think on this part, if that's what the director was trying to achieve, bonus for them, but historical truth, not so much on that one. So, that's the building. That's the first thing that sort of like throw me off. What I like is about certain shoots that is happening in Mulan. For example, in this very part when she was riding the horses and she saw two rabbits running along side by side. And later on she said she thinks that one is a female, the other is male. And this is very interesting because that actually echoes with the Ballad of Mulan in the Chinese original. We say 双兔傍地走，安能辨我是雄雌. So the two rabbits running side by side, you can't tell which is female and which is male. That indicates a hidden clue for later on when Mulan joined the army. Nobody could actually, see through her as a woman. So I do enjoy that part. I think the tone setting is very nice on that one. So that was like the first hour. In general, it was fun. I particularly enjoy when Mulan went to see the matchmaker. That crazy makeup apparently has drawn the global attention. I see a lot of people are trying to mimic that kind of makeup. I'm very skeptical about that kind of makeup. I wonder if we really apply such heavy makeup in that hour, but I can definitely see the theatrical effects. I mean, it's dramatic and it was fun to watch. So that tone setting, it was fun, and I think it created like a very interesting transition when Mulan was all dressed up and see the matchmaker, followed by the whole village witnessed that her father was called upon. And so that was actually a very, very moving scene for me when you saw that immediate contrast between, a daring daughter trying to take care of her father. I think that was very moving. So overall, I think when it comes to tone setting, the first hour was doing a good job, but historically speaking, it felt like a mashup from the costume to the emperor's architecture to the hometown of Mulan. It all seems to suit the overall background, but historically, when it comes to China, the exact thing is different. But I think that's acceptable for, Western audience, because maybe from their point of view, they can see or they just sort of like understand, and that's the whole point of tone setting. But for us Chinese, of course, we wanted to feel more appreciated by actually making the accurate choices. And not to mention recent years that in China, we've seen a growing number of TV series and movies. They really made a lot of effort to trying to replicate what it was in the ancient times. And apparently Hua Mulan failed to deliver on that part, so a lot of Chinese are not really happy about it. Let's move to the storytelling. That's the part when I get a little bit confused. You see, whether by the historical record or by the Disney's animation version, Mulan was not a chosen girl. She's a common girl who has a big caring heart for her aged father and for the entire nation. But in this new movie, she was chosen. She was inhibited with qi, and she was protected by the ancestors, the phoenix, whenever she ran into an obstacle. And just look at this very picture when she was trying to fight with the leader of the enemy. It looks really weird that was just the phoenix trying to fly above her. But still, I felt a little bit off. This kind of actually wakened her. As a common person, each of us has to work very, very hard to get where we are. And in this movie, it seems that, yes, she worked very hard, but she was also chosen. And that is different with a person with a gift trying to get ahead of the others. That is just different. So that's the part where I don't really appreciate. And the other part that is, she acted very fast when she decided to step in and enlist as a soldier in replace of her father. Yes, in the original animation, she actually had her hair cut. That shows the sort of like determination. We never really know, as Mulan in history, what sort of struggle that she had, but it couldn't be an easy decision. However, according to the Ballad of Mulan, she seemed really planned it out meticulously. 东市买骏马，西市买鞍鞯，南市买辔头，北市买长鞭. So she's getting all her armory stuff together, and then she departed her parents and left for the army journey. So for that part, I think it was a little bit too fast. We don't mind to spend extra 2 minutes to deliberate on that, to see what sort of action she would actually felt, her inner struggle, and then really determined that is her responsibility, or that is what she should be doing. So I think if we had 2 more minutes to feature on that, that would be fantastic. The other weak link is about the witch role. I think it's just a really weak story link. The fact that she, as a witch, out of nowhere, she sort of told her story saying that she was not being seen, she was not being appreciated. But where did she come from? It's sort of like a misery. And what made her who she is right now, and why she's working with the enemy, that all of them remains as a mystery and never been really explained. And then all of a sudden, she's willing to sacrifice her own life and took that era for Mulan. That seems a little bit odd. And they had that kind of like a conversation, a woman to another woman, saying that we are in the same place. And then Mulan first denied it, and the second time Mulan was trying to appeal her to be on Mulan's side, she said, we are in the same place. That part is a little bit confusing. I definitely see, adding this witch into the playfield definitely create more dramatic tension, because that is not a fair play, right? When there is a witch power in any battlefield, that is not fair play. It's interesting to watch, but I think we need more clarification when it comes to that. Maybe the audience can better understand and better appreciate the woman power the director was trying to convey. But when it comes to storytelling, there are 2 parts that I really appreciate. Towards the end of the movie, when Mulan obviously has won the battle and came to see the emperor asked Mulan to be one of the decorated warrior, and she declined. That echoes the Ballad of Mulan when they said, 可汗问所欲，木兰不用尚书郎，愿驰千里足，送儿还故乡. So when the emperor asked Mulan what you want, and Mulan declined to be promoted, but hoping to make amends to her own family by returning to her parents' side. So I think that part is very, very touching, and I personally think that part has a great reflection on the devotion to the family, how Chinese people felt about their own family. So I think that's a great touch. Followed by that is that bespoken gift the emperor presented to Mulan when Mulan returned it to her home. That is the very sword that Mulan lost when she was battling with the head of the enemy. The part that struck my chord is there is one extra characters engraved on the sword. On top of it is the old three classic virtue, 忠勇真, 忠诚勇敢真实. And on the back of it is the devotion to the family. I think that is a stroke of genius. Personally, I really enjoyed that part. Alright guys, thank you for watching this episode. I hope you enjoyed this movie, and if you have some ideas about the movie, feel free to share in the comment section and let me know what you think about this movie. Overall, I think it's great. I love Liu Yifei. She's killing it. And I'm Stephanie, and I'll see you next time.